afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday. And today I have Kanad here with Send Potion. And without further ado, Kanad, if you can, we'd love to learn a little bit more about what Potion does in a quick minute elevator pitch.
Sure thing. First of all, thank you so much for having me on Nacho Tuesday. I know it's a super fun program, and I've been following Nacho for quite some time now. I had the pleasure to meet Sanjay a long time ago. I don't think he even remembers me. So thank you for having me on. I'm Kanad, founder and CEO of Potion, and Potion is a generative video AI platform, which is a fancy way of saying that our AI allows folks to create, update, edit, generate videos using only text input. And our first application is for salespeople, sales teams selling B2B products to their prospects. We help them personalize videos at scale.
Very cool. So what got you down this path in your career? What got you into AI besides it being the hottest buzzword around these days?
I think the AI bug, if you will, I think it was Evan Shapiro and David Jensen, who were the founders of Knit Health. I give that credit to them, actually. So before starting Potion, I was working at Google, and before Google, I was working at a small startup in San Francisco called Knit Health, and they built a camera that could detect sleeping and breathing disorders in kids who have those disorders, like sleep apnea and stuff like that. It was a very rewarding project, and I got to see firsthand how the team implemented AI solutions in the hardware. Really almost impossible to solve problems that were like being solved using AI, and I was completely obsessed after that. So that was the germination of the idea. And after that, I was playing around with a handful of other startup ideas and realized that if you send someone a personalized video, they are way more likely to engage with you. Yep. But it's impossible to scale this approach. So we decided to apply the learnings of that customer experience with the AI learnings to build the Potion. So that's how it started.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm interested in learning more about how does it work actually. Can you tell our audience how the platform actually operates?
Absolutely. So as a user, you record a video using your front camera, just like this one. And once you record the video, you select parts of the video that you want to personalize. You might have things like the greeting that you want to send that needs personalization, or the company name, or the background of the video to be personalized for the recipient's website. So you record a video template, and Potion's AI automatically just personalizes that video template to thousands and thousands of people. It's super easy to use.
That's really interesting. So you could, for instance, maybe change the intro line. So you could say, hey, Kanad, and then I could send a video to my CEO and say, hey, Sanjay, and it would be, me on camera, but it could just do like a voiceover on it too.
Correct. That's exactly it, actually. Like, we do the voiceover as well as accurate lip sync. So usually, a typical use case is somebody records a video like, hey there, this is John sending a video from my company, blah, blah, blah. Here's my sales pitch. Potion takes that video, changes that hey there to hey Andy, hey John, hey Jenny, without you actually creating entire videos from John, Jenny, etc. And it also sends the video on the right domain and like customize the picture-in-picture mode to match the user's background and stuff like that. So it customizes the entire web page for the recipient that you're sending.
Yep. And why is personalization so important today? I mean, as the world goes more into automation, I feel like anybody that actually works and focuses on personalizing their approach in marketing always performs a lot better in today's age. Why is that, do you think?
It's so strange. The sweetest words to anybody's ears is their name. And if you also couple that with visuals, like their own LinkedIn profile or their own website, it's insanely attention grabbing. Like, attention is the new economy. Like, we live in the economy of attention now. So anything that captures and keeps your attention is important, and personalization helps you do exactly that. It's really important for us to convey our message, but because everybody is sending cold emails that are just basically just copy paste templates, it's
Yeah.
really difficult to cut through the noise. And this is a really clean way of making sure that your message gets heard. And personalization also makes the recipient feel like, okay, this person has actually gone above and beyond to make this video or message for me. So I'm willing to invest time in listening to what they have to say.
That's a great point. You said, with all the great tools out there these days, it's easier than ever to get somebody's contact information, land up in their inbox, show an ad to these people. The result of this is people are starting to learn how to get really good about blocking out things and cutting out anything that's not
Yes,
that doesn't speak to them and their needs specifically. So that's
correct.
where video and personalization become really powerful. I guess what other tips would you offer for people to create a very great engaging video that grabs people's attention and actually converts?
It's funny you mentioned that. We've been talking about this last week with my team. I'm putting together a guide for all the tips, tricks, tools that we've learned in the last few years. So far, Potion has generated million, like 4+ million videos for all of our users. And so we have started looking at patterns on what videos do well, what kind of personalization strike the chord. So here are the top 3 things that one should do if they are thinking of using videos as a means of communication. One is make sure that the video intro has the name of the prospect in it. So that personalization key is extremely, extremely important. When you start your video with, "Hey, Andy," you're way more likely to consume the entire video as opposed to, "Hey, I'm Kanad, blah, blah, blah." So make sure that you open with the sweetest sound in the world, which is your prospect's name. Make sure that you throw in their website or their profile page on LinkedIn or Facebook in the background as a picture-in-picture mode. So you must have seen like Loom videos where people are like, there's a bubble in the bottom left and there's a screen recording in the background. If that screen recording is also personalized for the recipient, then they are way more likely to like consume your message. And the third biggest thing is when you craft your video landing page, also throw in CTA buttons or like a Calendly widget or some other widget that is a clear CTA to your message. So the 3 biggest tips that we've learned so far that work really well.
Great. And what about timing? Obviously, we mentioned people are starved for attention these days. What do you find to be like the ideal time for a video, especially when it comes to sales outreach?
Great question. So it's really subjective. So if you are approaching someone and if you want to send them an opener, keep the video short, 30 seconds or less. But as you get further down the sales cycle, it's okay to send longer videos, especially if the prospect is, they are willing to experience your product and want to give it a try. Sometimes you want to send them full-blown demos, and those can be longer as well. That's completely fine. There are some videos that explain the value of your product without the demo, such as case study walkthroughs or presentation walkthroughs that can be longer, 1 minute to 1 minute 30. But by and large, if you are approaching someone cold, you want to keep the video as short as possible, 30 seconds to 45 seconds.
That's a great point there. So I know you have a lot of experience with product design. So what kind of tips would you offer for startups out there that want to go down the path that you have with your startup and developing an MVP product and getting that crucial product market fit?
It's a really important question, but also very, very difficult. And I need to think on this for a second. So from a design perspective, one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen among my friends and like other founder acquaintances that I have is not looking at design as a function of product. What do I mean by that? So many times when, especially engineers, when they start building things, they just start coding as opposed to actually engineering the product. So having a proper UX guideline with proper nomenclature, properly organized artboards on your Figma. You're collaborating with your engineering team on different states of the UI. If that is not done properly, then it's not a good sign. So that's one of the biggest things for when it comes to like design management. On the MVP side, when you are finished with your design, you take that to your friends and just ask them to like click through the click-through prototype and see where they're not clicking, where you want them to click, but they're not. And it's an unguided experience. And then you realize, okay, this feature or these 3 sets of features we thought were critical for the MVP, but they weren't. So you can remove them. And you'd like boil it down to the absolute essence of 1 or 2 features and call that as your MVP. One big thing that people make a common mistakes on with MVP is they think MVP needs to be crappy, but that's not true. Minimum viable doesn't mean poor quality. It has to be as small as possible from a requirements perspective, but it also has to be highest quality, which means writing the test cases, writing all the flows and logic in your designs as well. So that's one other big thing that I've seen people don't do quite well when it comes to MVPs.
Yeah, and a lot of times people they'll overbuild it too, right? And they'll just assume that if you build it, people will come.
Yeah, and like to be fair, like I've been guilty of that one too many times. Like I've definitely overbuilt over my entire career. Like some of the products that we built were extremely over-engineered. We didn't quite look at the pull from the market either. So I've been guilty of that. I'm pretty sure every developer, designer is guilty of that as well. But what's important is understanding what the customers want and building it in the most effective way possible.
Definitely. Yeah, you don't really understand that too until you start doing it. Then you really get
Correct.
a feel for it, right? It's not
Yes.
It's not so much something you can just go read about in a book and really totally just nail it right off the
yes.
first.
Yeah, I mean, you can still read books like The Lean Startup and I think it's The Business Canvas. Eric Ries wrote The Lean Startup, and the other one, I forget the name of the guy. He was sorry, what's that?
I like Hooked by Nir El.
Nir El, yep. That is a good book as well. Yes. I need to good thing you mentioned that. I need to reread it because I had read that like a long time ago.
I do that too, actually. I have like a favorite book that I'll reread every now and then just to kind of bone up on my knowledge there, just kind of keep it top of mind. So, all the work that you're doing, even if you've read it, you kind of been through it, you lived it, you know it.
Yeah.
You just want to kind of yourself, so you're always
it's that way. So strange that there are a couple books that I have that I read almost every year or every other year, and I find new things. It's almost like you watch The Godfather a few years like you watch it in 2010 and then you watch it in 2015, you have a completely different perspective on the movie. There are a couple books that do that for me as well. When I read it the first time, I was a different person, so I applied the knowledge from the book in a different way, but a few years down the road, I just completely there was a whole new perspective on it. It's pretty cool.
That's like me watching Seinfeld. Now that I've moved to New York City, it's
it's different.
It does make more sense. Yeah. I mean, I still laugh at it, but now I really get it. So what are your thoughts on product-led growth? I believe it's, really, I'm a big fan of product-led growth. I think it's one of the, the key marketing strategies today. Anything that's kind of a free growth flywheel that you could build right into the product. What tips do you have for that?
A great question, actually. So to be fully honest, we are actively not trying to build product-led growth at Potion, mostly because we work with sales folks, and we want to make sure the product speaks for sales folks. So we're intentionally not building product-led growth loops in the product. Having said that, I sometime in the future, PLG is gonna be we have to crack that nut sometime in the future. A couple case studies that I recently was really intrigued about was with Notion. So Notion cracked PLG somewhat accidentally. The company was about to die. I think the founders moved to Kyoto, Japan to rebuild the company. They started with like a website builder or something like that. Then they built this documenting tool, and a few influencers picked it up because it was like really cleanly designed. And they started creating templates using Notion and started sharing those templates with their community. And just because you can create templates for anything in your life, such as a travel plan to a meal plan to uh, uh, any organization type templates for your life. Uh, People start creating it, and when you share that template with someone, somebody uses it, they have to sign up on Notion. So that creates this inherent loop that uh, if you want to use this template, you sign up on Notion, and you share that template with your friends, and they sign up. So it creates this self-fulfilling prophecy where you more content is created just by virtue of using the product.
Yeah.
That's a great example of PLG. Another good example was Loom. So when you
Yeah.
share a Loom video with someone, they look at the Loom video link and they're like, okay, cool, I can do this as well. I'll sign up. So that's another good example. So anybody who is thinking of implementing PLG has to think about how you can connect content with product. So what stuff you can create with the product that you are building, how is it getting shared, and how are you allowing people who are consuming that content to share that content or to share the tool.
Yeah.
So that's the missing link between PLG and product and content.
And it has to be, done in a way to where it's not too contrived, right? So people
Correct.
share
Yeah.
willingly because they want to share a video with somebody, and they've made a really efficient, easy way to do it. And it just makes sense to just drop a link to somebody and say, watch this video.
Yes.
So it works kind of for both sides there. And then the new person being exposed to it says, wow, what is this Loom video thing? This is really interesting. I could use that for myself too.
Yes, absolutely. So it has to provide value first. Like if you hide, especially like consumer type products, if you hide that content behind a paywall or a sign up wall, then it basically detracts people from using your product in the first place, even though they are not a signed up user.
Yeah.
So it's really important to understand, like, can you provide value to your users in any way through content or through something else that encourages them to at least explore your application, as opposed to okay, I don't need this anymore. It's asking me to give my email up.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially both sides too, right? The person sharing it has to look good, as the person receiving it too. And the worst offenders
Yes.
I see are people that just throw like an invite your friends tool on there, and they just assume people are going to use it.
Yes. Although, like, in all fairness, LinkedIn aggressively used that strategy in the early days. Is basically whenever you signed up on LinkedIn, it would automatically send notifications of invitation to everybody in your email contact list.
Yeah.
It worked back in the day because I think they were the very first company to do it.
Yep.
But I don't think it'll work
Not anymore.
in this day and age. I don't think anybody is going to care about an invitation from a new social media platform.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen other companies try to, implement similar tactics, but it's been there, been done. Nobody wants to,
Yeah.
nobody wants to have you scan their entire email contact list and spam
Yeah.
their friends. That's your brand.
But to be fair, it's actually not PLG. Like what LinkedIn did is not really. I wouldn't consider that product-led growth. You were not necessarily, or the people who were receiving the invitations were not necessarily using the product in order to grow the product.
Exactly.
They were getting messaging outside of the product, and it was a marketing or a viral hack, if you will, a growth hack, but it wasn't necessarily PLG.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Yeah, I see this one company, I think it's called Alignable or something, and I get email invitations from them, and it's so off-putting just the way they've done it. So I'm like, I definitely ignore those emails. I've trained myself to ignore them when I get them.
Yeah.
I'm like, this person wants to add me to their network. I don't even know who this person is.
Yeah.
Exactly. I guess what other tips do you offer for startups that are maybe in the early stage looking to, get their company out there without, building their brand in the right way, of course?
It really depends on the stage of the startup. If as a founder, if you're at an early stage, like an idea stage, the best thing I would suggest is, which helped me personally as well, is joining On Deck Fellowship. They're very selective about who they like accept in the program, but it's essentially a community of very early stage founders who collaborate on different ideas and explore the idea maze to see what works, what can what businesses have legs, and you also have this community of other people who keep you accountable. So that's like very, very early stage. That's even before you have a product.
Yeah.
If you have an idea, and like if you are working or building your MVP or the first iteration of the product, the time and told advice is just launch. Like whatever you have, just launch either on Reddit or Hacker News, Product Hunt, and you're gonna get bashed regardless. So just launch. If anything is like halfway working, just launch it. There is no escaping that. You can't perfect your product anyway. Just launch it and eat the rejection, eat the negative comments, feedback, and improve the product. Some people will like it, some people will hate it. Just follow the people who like it and build the things that they want. And the third thing is it's gonna take time.
Yeah.
It's gonna take years and years and years of just going and grinding. I know we're out of like the hustle culture, but I almost feel like we don't talk about hustle culture as much, but it does take quite some time for you to like finish even the version 1 of the product that's something that people actually want, as opposed to what you call a V1.
Yeah.
It takes years and years. It's like going to the gym. You're not gonna like get a fit body in like 1 month.
Overnight. Yeah. Same with the whole product market fit. That's why
Yeah.
it's key to really get it out there quickly, get that feedback, get your feedback loops going,
Yes.
what customers really like, what they don't like, and optimize
Mhm.
it. And really, the overnight success, really, I always say, is kind of an overnight decade or maybe an overnight couple of years. It really
Yes.
doesn't happen at that initial first product launch. Many times people hear about it when you get all those features and the whole product align with the market's needs. And then, then you have those, viral loops that are in there where people come and try the product. They like it so much, they start telling their friends about it, and it
Yes.
just grows like wildfire. But there's a lot of work that comes into it beforehand that a lot of people don't see.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just take a look at the hottest thing that's happening right now, like ChatGPT or any like OpenAI products. OpenAI has been around for quite some time now. It's not like a new company, although ChatGPT product is only 1 year old.
Yeah.
And they had released many other products before, some on the research side, some only for developers like GPT-3. But ChatGPT hit a home run because they kept on iterating on
Yeah.
uh, what people wanted, and they hit a nerve when they released ChatGPT. So it was a long time before ChatGPT was even built. So there's no overnight success in this industry.
Yeah, that's the thing about like timing PR and when you actually officially launch your company too, right? So
Yeah,
it's good to launch it into these other entrepreneur communities, get feedback from, even early customers or other people that know what to look for, right? Other
yeah,
entrepreneurs can kind of through it. And once you feel like you've got that product market fit, then you can do the press release blast and, maybe throw a launch party, get your t-shirts and business cards. I met, I've been there before actually years and years ago, but you get your
yeah. Fair enough.
so excited for your first startup and you get your business cards and t-shirt and then wait, our product doesn't work. We don't have any customers. Why do we spend all that money on all those t-shirts?
It's so funny you mentioned that. Like we haven't created and shared any swag,
Yeah.
t-shirts, hats, or anything like that for Potion at all. Like we're saving that for like a really big moment. Like next year we'll raise our next round of funding, and once that happens, then I can say, go to my team like, hey, we worked for 3-4 years as hard as we could, and here's a t-shirt
You
as
earned
a
it.
reminder of that,
Here's
as
your
opposed to using swag as to kind of market your product. We almost wanted to like to remind us that, okay, we've come a long way ever since we started.
and it's a sense for grounding yourself too, right? Don't celebrate, before before you've had that victory moment.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I guess what do you think causes most startups to fail, based on your experience?
um Lacking the appropriate listening skills, and lacking perseverance, or rather persistence. I think those are probably the two biggest. Uh, so
I agree.
by listening skills, I mean not listening to your customers on what they are telling you. They may not be explicit about what they want, like the feature or feature extension or a completely new product, but not listening to and understanding like their needs is probably the biggest killer. Uh, if you ask this question to a VC, they might have a different answer. They might say, okay, founder split up is a is the main answer, but I really believe it's, if you are persistent and keep on pushing, keep on updating the product, and just not give up, someday like light is going to break, and someday you're going to find the things that you're building are resonating with a group of people, and that's your startup. So not listening to your users and customers, and not being persistent enough, or just grinding through the tough times is probably the biggest, are the biggest reasons for startup failures.
Yeah, and especially in the early days, and that's what they say the word vision, that's what it really is, right? It's knowing,
Yeah,
where you're trying to get, and seeing the steps right in front of you that you have to take one at a time to kind of get to that vision further on down the road. But you never get there unless you're empathetic with your customers' needs.
correct.
And
Yeah,
your point, the worst way to kill a startup is to, build something for what you think the problem is and how you think you want to solve it. It's a very engineering approach too.
yeah.
Uh, as
I mean,
opposed
like, granted,
to needs.
almost every startup starts like that.
Yeah,
Like, people are like, oh, I think this is a problem that I can fix in this way.
yeah,
Uh, Most of the times they're wrong. I've been wrong like that many times. So,
yeah.
but then the customer tells you like, hey, I actually don't want this, but I want that, and you build it. If you don't build it, your startup will die.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess what's next for Potion over the next few years? What are you guys excited about and working on over there that you could actually share with us without, giving away too many
Yeah.
details?
Oh, fair enough. So, um, yeah, this is like a near and dear topic. Uh, Potion is actually a platform for generative video and audio content. So think of us like ChatGPT, but for videos. Although we are starting with a very specific use case for sales, um, the same AI can be used for a variety of things, like turning English videos into any other language, or creating hyper personalized video ads for YouTube, or creating education content that is specifically tailored for each child. So, or turning uh, anime into accurate lip sync in other languages, because nobody wants to have dubbed anime.
Having some
So
child is terrible.
yeah. So stuff like that is actually possible using the same AI, but we have we have to build tooling to allow people to build this on top of our AI. So in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to productionize a platform play. That means brokering an API and SDK or third-party integrations that people can build their own businesses on top of. And that's what I'm really, really excited about. So our sales use case brings in the bread, but next year onwards, we're going to start releasing more and more products that are geared towards allowing people to build applications and businesses using the core functionality of Potion, which is the video and audio synthesis, just using text input. So that's what I'm really excited about. That's the first part. The second thing is, sorry, I'm taking too long.
Oh, go ahead. It's your show. I'm just here to ask.
The second part is also really, really critical for us to get right from the early stages, is making sure that the content and video and audio stuff that is being produced or synthesized is good. What do I mean by good? Um, if somebody's making malicious content or misinformation, disinformation, using someone else's face, voice as identity, and trying to fake being someone else, how
Oh,
can we detect that type of content? How can we prevent those bad actors from creating and distributing more of this malicious content? Uh, those types of problems are really, really hairy,
yeah.
and none of the startups that are working in this space are actually taking it as seriously as they should. Like,
No.
for example, like, there's a company called Synthesia, and they're uh, like AI, they create AI avatar, AI faces essentially, and one of their AI faces was used to spread disinformation. I think it was early this year. So we don't want people to create bad content, but we want to make sure that whatever content that they create or update it can be done. That can be done as easily as possible using AI. So how can we ethically build the AI while preventing bad use cases? That's one other big thing, big initiative that we will take on in 2024.
That's huge. And I'm glad that you guys see that opportunity too, because I do see that as a problem. So many people are rushing towards how to, implement AI. Not a lot of people are standing back and saying, well, think about all the negative that you could potentially have from AI as well, and developing a solution around it, which I think there's going to be a huge market for that.
Yes. Yeah. And just from like outside of the market, like even from this is not coming from a business perspective, but it just makes, like, why would you want to like allow people to create malicious content? Like, as a company, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're producing good stuff as opposed to bad stuff in the world. It just it's a strange place to be. There is a market for creating bad content as well. How do we actually make sure that we are not causing or putting that out there? That's one of the biggest concerns for me personally. Yeah, it's a very interesting problem as well. Like creating identities that are basically unique to a user. It's a very interesting problem with face and voice biometrics, doing it efficiently. One of the things that we do right now at Potion is we don't allow you to upload videos and then personalize them or then customize them. So you can't upload Joe Biden's video and then make Joe Biden say anything.
That's the problem I'm worried about.
Yeah. So as a company policy, and we've turned down business, we've literally quote unquote fired customers because they weren't using the platform in the right way. Because we stand by this, like we want people to create authentic content. So as a user, you can only record yourself using your webcam. That's it. You can't upload somebody else's face and make them say anything. That's not just a business policy, but an ethics policy that we enforce quite literally in our company as well.
I'm glad you guys are taking a stand on it. Love your guys' product. Love what your company stands for as well, aside from just the business, but from the ethics standpoint as well too. Would be happy if anybody from the Nacho community supported your guys' business. Please check it out today. It's in the Nacho marketplace. You can get I think it's a pretty nice discount there, 25% off lifetime. Personalize your videos, get better conversions. Check out Potion today and Nacho's B2B SaaS marketplace. Once again, Kanad, thanks so much for coming on today. This was a fun conversation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, bud. Take care.
Bye now. Take care.